Mike Braun from Indiana.
So today's your first day. What are you feeling? What's this day with you?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of hubbub just to be here. I spent 15 months in the process of getting here, so it's neat that the day has finally come where you're going to start your career as a senator. So I look at all the time spent getting here. It's neat to have a day like this. And family came up yesterday to where we had a neat get-together in the Mansfield room at the Capitol. So, I mean, it is a good culmination of a long, hard effort.
So you're coming to Washington at a time that's been pretty unusual, where parts of government are shut down. What is your plan to address this?
Well, I think, you know, it's sad that we come to government shutdowns to make a point on trying to get something done, and it seems like it's become standard operating procedure when it comes to critical issues more often than it should. I think what the president's doing is trying to flush out, is there any serious interest on the part of the Democrats to secure our border? And I think as recently as a few years ago, you know, their position was very similar to the president's. And I think now, you know, for political purposes, they might look at it differently. So I think it's going to be a way for not only Hoosiers that I represent, but Americans to see, is border security something we're going to attend to.
Is there any sort of compromise that you could get on board with here?
Well, I think that the need, to me, requires more resources than what the president's asking for. It's accumulated over many, many years, and I think at this point in time, this is going to be longer than what it should take, because I think the other side has basically said they don't want to do anything other than what currently is happening, and I think that's frustrated President Trump and any of us that believe that we've got to promote legal immigration. It's necessary. We've done it as a country. We're based upon it, but we've got to secure our southern border.
So once we get past the government shutdown situation, what is on the top of your to-do list? What are your priorities?
Well, I mean, in building a business back in Indiana, being a state legislator for 3 years, everything worked upon getting things done in regular order. You couldn't promote your state government or your business in a positive way if you didn't live within your means, have cash balances, balance your budgets. And I'm on the budget committee, I hope, and I'm wanting to weigh in there. That's the most dysfunctional thing about our government currently. And in Indiana, infrastructure is important. Cost of health care is. Hopefully I'll be on committees that can weigh in on that. And I know a lot about controlling the cost of health care. In my own business, I took on the insurance companies 10 years ago, and I've got a good market-driven, consumer-driven plan that focuses on wellness, not remediation, and I've held premiums flat for 10 years. And I believe you've absolutely got to cover pre-existing conditions, no caps on coverage, and I think most families want to see if their kids can remain on the plan until they're 26. All things Obamacare did, called the Affordable Care Act, but it was not affordable. It's falling apart and we need to fix it.
My last question is just, you're coming to Washington at such a divided time. Is there a solution going forward? How do you plan to help solve it?
To be honest, I think on the critical issues, tax reform would have been one that just eked its way through reconciliation. When it comes to how we solve health care, what we do on the border, I've got to wait and see if we're going to get beyond where we're at. Only the issues, you know, we did a criminal justice reform bill, passed a farm bill. Those aren't controversial. You know, they got a lot of people on board. But when it comes to the critical stuff, one side of the aisle is, I think, happy with a large federal government that largely operates the way it is now, borrowing, you know, $1 trillion a year to finance it. Some on, you know, the Republican side, on the conservative side, have been regrettably in on that as well. Until you get a realization that that's not going to work into the future, it's going to end up in a calamity, I don't know that politicians are just taking it seriously enough. So I'm hoping that, like infrastructure, which you'd think everybody should be for sound bridges and good roads, but then we look at a federal government that, you know, is running $1 trillion deficits. You generally can't pay for anything, including infrastructure, when your house is in such disorder financially. So I'm hopeful. I was able to do some things in our state legislature that addressed infrastructure especially, and I'm hoping there's a way to convince others to kind of rein yourself in so you can accomplish a few things. I think Americans, Hoosiers expect it. You bet. Thank you.